Now, the government's unveiled plans to reform what it describes as the broken policing model in England and Wales. A new national police service will focus on cross-border crime, while the number of police forces will be significantly reduced. That suggests single county constabularies like Dorset will almost certainly disappear. What it means for the larger forces in Devon and Cornwall and Avon and Somerset, created by a previous merger in the 1960s, is unclear. At least until more detailed recommendations are published in the summer. Seb Noble reports.
We've travelled a long way over the years. Village bobbies like this one in 1960s Devon were once a common sight. But it's not just the means of getting around that's changed.
Well, this museum tells the story of the history of policing in Cornwall and Devon, a journey through time from when individual cities and towns had their own forces to then wider constabularies and, 60 years ago, the formation of Devon and Cornwall Police.
But this week the government unveiled radical reforms to policing.
We have local forces responsible for national policing, distracting them from policing their communities. And at the same time, we have forces of various shapes and sizes, with quality varying widely force by force. This government's reforms will ensure we have the right policing happening in the right place.
As well as a new national force, existing constabularies could be merged together to create fewer, bigger ones. Regional police was last mooted by the previous Labour government 2 decades ago, but ditched following opposition. And now some of our local MPs are seeking reassurances and looking closely at these new proposals.
My constituents are already concerned that Avon and Somerset Constabulary is dominated by Bristol, and far too few resources are devoted to Somerset's smaller towns and villages.
Since 2023, the cost of rural crime has tripled year on year, while Avon and Somerset Rural Crime Team is vastly under-resourced.
Can the Home Secretary assure us that these mergers that she's described today will no longer involve cases being bounced, or indeed residents being bounced between neighbouring police forces?
So could this lead to a wider southwest force? And what do those who oversee our local police think?
I laud her ambition, I have to say. I think she's stirring up the pot in terms of getting people thinking about what might work for policing. But obviously I'm a bit nervous and anxious about what that means for our residents in Devon, Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, and what resources that we've funded 43% of down here, what might happen to those.
It is about that question of how the National Police Service connects to our regions. There's always a concern about making sure we cover our whole geography. There are other concerns as well about making sure our armed response units are responsive and understanding of the communities that they're there to serve.
Well, the government insists these reforms will improve both cost efficiency and public safety. It says that response times for the most serious crimes in rural areas will be 20 minutes. Now, we're going to have to wait to find out what the final shape of policing in the southwest will look like, but will it consign the Devon and Cornwall Constabulary to the history books?